Hi there, this is Faye from Face World Media. This is going to be a slightly unusual video, and you can skip it if you're not interested in fitness or CrossFit or kind of the creators' health and fitness journey. I've been so inspired by creators on YouTube really sharing their journey. They're not necessarily fitness influencers, but those more like me working a lot from home and editing videos, and suddenly we're approaching late 30s, early 40s, our bodies start to change and we know we have to take care of ourselves. Previously on this channel, I shared my gluten-free journey, how I started to feel better, but this one is about building strength and creating a routine that works for me. Now, I'm going to get into all the details. This video is probably going to be a slightly longer video, so I've included different chapters and show notes below. Feel free to jump around, but if you're going to watch from the beginning to the end, I promise you this is going to be valuable. Please leave me any comments that you see fit below.
This video is sponsored in part by Sign Now. More on this in just a moment.
So here are some of the things and themes I'll be covering in this video. I will talk to you about my origin story leading up to this point, why I needed to choose new gyms, finding new combinations for the workout routine to maintain my body to actually feel good while doing work and creating more content for you guys here and in my personal lives. I want to get into the challenge a lot of us are facing at this age, especially as women. I really want this to be like a perspective of a woman beginner at a CrossFit gym. I understand there are a lot of misunderstandings and misconceptions related to CrossFit. I know people who have gotten injured and unable to continue their CrossFit journey, and I will talk about various things that I'm doing to prevent that from happening, why I have chosen the coach I love working with and the community and the gym. And I want to be very open about what to expect, especially if you're someone who's used to a gym such as a Lifetime, Equinox, or local gyms like Planet Fitness or Crunch. When I talk about transformation, it's not just how I look physically. By the way, I've lost 5 pounds since starting CrossFit just 2 weeks ago. The workouts are hard, but it's absolutely worth it because mentally, physically, and spiritually, I also sense a very significant transformation. When I started recording this video, I was thinking like, what kind of shirt should I wear? But keep in mind, I've only started literally a few weeks ago and I'm going at my own pace. I'm not muscular and it's something that I'm able to do. And that's why I want to record this video, because if I can do it, so can you. Running a business or a brand while staying fit is not easy. Between training, coaching, managing various clients, creating content, yes, paperwork, things can pile up fast. That's why I use Sign Now. It lets me send, sign, and manage documents from anywhere. No printer, no scanner, no hassle. Whether I'm managing brand deals, client forms, client waivers, or permission forms, Sign Now gets it done with just a few taps right from my phone. It's fast and legally binding, and it's for creators and small business owners like us. So while I'm working on my physical gains, I know that Sign Now will keep my business gains in check. So check it out with the link below. Keep making moves in and outside of the gym. I want to talk about private lessons as well. The exercises at CrossFit, they're not easy. They mimic certain aspects of gymnastics. For example, barbell as an exercise isn't easy, even though it might look simple and straightforward on your coach or someone else who's been doing this for many years. And I want to talk about private lessons, private sessions. Even if they don't offer that directly, it's something that's worth asking for and investing in. I want to also talk about my continued private sessions to work on goals that I have, such as a handstand or a strict pull-up. Last but not least, I'll cover how to stay consistent and how to engage with the community and beyond. If you have any questions, thoughts, things that we should learn from you, feel free to leave us a comment below. All right, let's start with the first one, which is the origin story. Why did I start CrossFit? I did not see myself doing this at all. Honestly, this was never really part of my plan ever. I am a woman in my early 40s, and I've done various sports growing up. I was an avid skateboarder. I was swimming. I'm still swimming. We have a pool. And I've done yoga for several years. I've done Zumba consistently. And I played hockey. So it sounds like I'm someone who's relatively active, which I have been. Because of popular media and how CrossFit has been portrayed, I was made aware of it right around 2000, early 2000s when I was in college. And at one point, I even worked for Reebok as a consultant when I was a project manager and worked on influencer programs. I remember the client gifted a pair of these CrossFit shoes. I got to customize, even put my name on it. Even back then, I didn't do it. It was never part of the plan. What has happened over the years is that one significant shift is I moved an hour away from where I used to live, which is Newton. So I bought a home in central Massachusetts. We know what happens when we move. Even though 1 hour isn't that long, it's hard for me to re-engage with my friends on a regular basis who live some distance away. And I also kind of lost the community and routine and the gyms I belonged to, which was Lifetime at the time. Prior to that, I was working out regularly at my Taekwondo gym in Peabody, Massachusetts, called O'Malley Taekwondo. We all know what happened is the pandemic happened. I did walking and swimming once we built the pool here in Central Mass. I realized that it just wasn't enough. Walking a couple hours a day is a great exercise, but as I age, it just wasn't enough anymore. I started exploring so many videos. I think those videos were targeted at me on YouTube and they're super helpful. I absolutely admire those female doctors and fitness influencers in their 50s to talk about their physical health, some related to menopause, perimenopause, and why women over the age of 35 should consider weight training and build that into their routine. And it's not just lifting like 8-10 pounds. We're talking about heavy weight. And it's something that I felt so intimidated by over the years. Even when I did martial arts, it's not something that I really focused on. I wasn't lifting weights on the side, which I probably should have. Strength training has always been very challenging for me. I decided I need to pursue this. And thanks to my dear friend Tripti, who told me about OrangeTheory, I first signed up at OrangeTheory. And later on at F45, I went to another gym near my home and I evaluated everything. I do like OrangeTheory. I do like and appreciate F45, but these gyms, number one, they're a little bit farther away from me. Even though they're just 20 minutes, I know it's not very long. Many of you guys have to drive much farther to hit your gym. But for me, I'm a caregiver for my mom, and during rush hour, 20 minutes could become 25, 30. These gyms are quite expensive, and I didn't feel like I was getting the one-on-one attention. When we're doing weight training, we had to rely on ourselves. A lot of the times we were looking at the screen, and I was lifting relatively light. And frankly, I didn't know how to build from there. I didn't understand compound exercise. I didn't know what progressive load is. I knew I needed help. Luckily, thanks to Google search, I found this gym that's not part of a chain, and it's called Blackstone River CrossFit. At the beginning, I was intimidated, but what's the worst could happen? So my number one tip is that go visit the gym. Go shake hands with the owners and the coaches and see how you like it. There are a variety of reasons why I like this gym, and I do want to share it with you. Hopefully this will save you some time. Number one, it's really, really big. I know that's not always a given. It's based in Millbury, Massachusetts, so perhaps there is just more space in these suburban areas, but it really makes a big difference. I remember all the gyms that I like. It's very spacious, very airy, and especially doing these heavy workouts with a lot of people. And even when you're there by yourself, you feel like you can run around. In fact, you can run inside the gym without having to head out, especially during the hot summer days or when it's snowing outside. I also love that it's big when you have a relatively bigger class. You don't have to work in a group of 4 or 5 people. In the past 3-4 weeks, I realized it's always so easy to find a spot. I can come in at any time to work out on my own. Speaking of which, not all gyms are open all the time. So that was definitely a setback for me going to like F45 and OrangeTheory, because these locations will not allow us to actually remain in the gym or arrive early. The only time that we have access to the gym is during that 1-hour class. So I really like these aspects of a private gym, a mom and pop owned shop where there's a lot more flexibility, personalization, and a lot of care. Next, I want to talk about how to find the right coach. That conversation with a coach is essential. So that person understands your goals, respected, let you speak, and actually have a very natural and friendly conversation. It shouldn't be about one, not listening or forcing his or her goals onto you or aggressively pushing you to move to the next level. I think this is so key, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced CrossFitter. So what I like about working with my current coach is that he listens. He really knows these techniques. And luckily for me, someone who's been in fitness for quite some time now, I've had the privilege to work with a lot of incredible coaches. Thank you to all of you. I don't have time to mention each one of you by name, but once you recognize the characteristics, they become very obvious. Some of the ones I mentioned before, but also it's about corrections. When it comes to CrossFit and exercises like this, you really need some private sessions. I wouldn't recommend that you jump right into a group session with zero experience. There are a lot of challenging exercises. By that, I don't mean they're necessarily dangerous or you have to do push-ups, upside down, anything like that. But even something like barbell that can look really easy, straightforward, artistic, and beautiful on somebody else doesn't mean that you can just grab the bar and do it yourself. There are so many different techniques and acronyms which can become very confusing. I remember during the first couple of weeks of my private sessions and doing barbell for the first time, I just remember feeling very differently, like looking at my elbows, my arms, my hand differently than I did before. I would try to hold on to a PVC bar or purchase some of these tools on Amazon, just practice at home. There's a lot going on and you're not going to get it within the first session. So I think when you start, it's really important to have 3 to 5 private sessions to nail down the techniques. I know it sounds like a privilege and private sessions can be expensive, but personally, it's really worth the investment. When I started group sessions after a couple of weeks, I really liked the community as well. People are very encouraging. Now, I'm not an expert in CrossFit by any means, but one thing you'll realize with these exercises is that the sets are much longer and challenging than some of the other ones you may have experience at, say, F45 or OrangeTheory or your other HIIT class. So instead of doing repetitions and sets in 8 to 12, what you have noticed when it comes to some of these group classes at CrossFit, you see numbers like 15, 20, 30, or even 60. And those can be pretty challenging for you, but nobody is rushing you. When I work with my group session coaches, they'll give me a separate whiteboard where I have different metrics and reps that I can do as a beginner, and that's super helpful. I think that's just one thing to keep in mind, that nobody's judging you, and whether you finish on time or fast, none of that really matters. You're not doing this for competition. The only competition is you. Earlier today, I was at CrossFit and I got a chance to work with another woman who mentioned something. I know it sounded simple, but as we're going through these reps, we did squat clean and pull-ups and kipping and rings if you can do pull-ups. And then the third part of that set is an 800-meter run. I remember running with her and just feeling really out of breath. And she said, you know you can do it, and this is a temporary discomfort. I think a lot of times when we work with other friends, community, it just makes everything more fun, easier. You'll be surprised how much you're going to push yourself. And it's really quite fun. So next part, I actually want to talk about the mental and physical transformation. So in the past few weeks, I have lost 5 pounds. I'm aiming to lose maybe another 5 or 10. Honestly, weight loss is not the focus of this journey. Even my coach told me it's not really about losing weight, but it's about converting fat into muscles and feeling stronger. I think that should be the right focus. As part of my membership, contains group sessions, I'm also working with my coach on my diet, on my nutrition. So I think a lot of the gyms nowadays offer that, and it's been very beneficial because when you actually track what you're eating, you'll realize it's very different than what you had imagined. For me, I know this is not news to a lot of women that I was absolutely under eating protein. I currently weigh about 135 pounds, and the amount of protein I've been instructed to eat is around 130. I know there are women who consume a lot more, who are athletes, and then there are women who eat less. For my tracking app, I'm using my FitnessPal. And by the way, I do wear an Oura ring. I also have purchased Lumen, which is another fitness device that measures your metabolic health. I decided to use my FitnessPal because my coach uses it for all his other clients. It's really quite a good app. Let me know your favorite apps in the comments below. I'll be very curious to know. The hardest part of this journey, I would say, is to consume enough protein. Personally, I don't mind protein shakes, so I've been drinking them. I'm going to list some brands below. Atkins is a pretty common one. I started drinking Ensure as well. There's some really good flavored ones, and there's Max Protein that contains 30 grams, so I don't have to drink too much liquid that is protein-based throughout the day. Another one I really like is Optum protein powder, and I'm pleasantly surprised even my mom doesn't really mind it, so we're drinking that together. If I remember, I'm disciplined about it. I will also add a couple of scoops of collagen peptide. I will list all these in an article in a companion blog post available in the description below, along with some of these products I've mentioned. By the way, these products are not sponsored whatsoever. My gym did not sponsor me to record this video or say anything positive about them, but I do love the community and I really appreciate the people and the coaches who have helped me along the way. Before I signed up for CrossFit, I watched a lot of female creators who talk about their CrossFit journey on YouTube, and it's tremendously helpful. One thing is to know the difference. At these CrossFit gyms, most of them are quite masculine. I don't think it needs to be intimidating because they're not the moment that you feel like you're immersed in the community. At the beginning, when you walk through the door, it's going to feel very different than Lifetime, than Equinox for obvious reasons. There are going to be a lot of bars for hanging, for kipping, for pull-ups. You're going to see these machines placed throughout the gym. And when you're in class, I remember during my private sessions, there are people dropping barbells on the ground. So you're going to hear a lot of heavy sounds. That could be just unfamiliar at the beginning. It wasn't scary or daunting by any means. What I also noticed that CrossFit is not just for people in their 20s and 30s. All the gyms I've been to, including CrossFit these days, I noticed there's a big variety of people, men and women of all ages, of all different physical abilities. In fact, a couple of members there have goals to lose over 100 pounds. I really admire that. And as much as they have supported me, and I want to do the same in return. So my current routine includes continued private sessions, and I go to CrossFit about 3 to 4 times a week, where I try to keep 3 as a minimum. If I can, that includes a private session. I also really like to stretch my body and connect with the previous sports and activities I really enjoyed, like yoga. I recently started bar and Pilates. I really enjoy it, and I think they complement CrossFit very well. So the gym I go to in Central Mass is called The Bar Effect, which I've also linked below. Another activity I really enjoy is Zumba. I've been doing Zumba with my dear friend Jorge Fuentes since 2018. I moved away from the closest Lifetime gym, and Jorge's no longer teaching. I had to find another gym. That took some trials and errors as well. I really like very active, very vibrant dance moves. People are moving. There's a lot of energy in the room. For that reason, I ended up in a boutique Zumba shop called Dance Fitness Collaboration. Is run by Jimmy and Marco. Absolutely adore them. I've been very lucky to add that into my routine as well. I typically go on Saturdays and Sundays. So you can see throughout the week, CrossFit maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Tuesday and Thursday, I try to at least do one session of bar/Pilates. And then during the weekend, I will do Zumba. Let me know what is the combination that you enjoy the most, or perhaps you're straight up CrossFitter. I would love to hear what other people do to enhance their fitness and mental health. As promised, I want to talk about continued private sessions. Over the years, I've had private instructors, and my mom is someone who firmly believes that if she can let me learn from the very best, she would do whatever it takes to sign me up to learn from the best teachers in pretty much every discipline. I'm very lucky in that way. And now that I'm doing CrossFit, my coach, who's also the owner of the gym I mentioned earlier, his name is Zafin Simpson, and he's fantastic to work with. I decided to continue my private sessions, didn't just stop on the basics to join group sessions, but my private sessions these days, once a week, will focus on my specific goal, such as strict pull-up. I couldn't do one. I still can do one, but it's something that's so fun to work on. And I've been feeling pretty sore on my arms, my lats, but it's a good kind of pain. It's not really painful. It's just general muscle soreness. I can still continue to go to classes. I love these private sessions, not only to help me gain new skills, but also to refine and catch the mistakes I may be making in parallel during the group sessions. Some of my friends will send their kids to go to these like swimming camps, which is fantastic. But together we talk about the fact that a lot of the times when you have these large group sessions, the coach doesn't have enough attention and time to focus on individuals. Of course not. And these kids ended up doing the strokes incorrectly and making mistakes, doing dozens of laps at a time. So that's actually not helpful. One thing I know when it comes to CrossFit, you don't want to make mistakes to hurt yourself or to keep repeating the mistakes over and over again. I think that's my initial review of CrossFit. I can't wait to prepare another video like this because it's been so fun. Physically, mentally, spiritually, I am at a different place. I couldn't believe this happened so soon. There are a lot of people, my coach, and community to thank for, but I also think it started to change my chemistry, physiology altogether. Coming home, for example, after CrossFit, I'm a caregiver for my mom. I'm asking her what I can do around the house. I find cleanup, moving things around much more exciting. I know how to lift heavy weight, even things I have to pick up at home. I'm able to engage my core, my entire body. One thing I should really have said earlier is that CrossFit is so different than other sports because you will end up progressively lift heavy and heavier. Your whole body is involved. Even when you don't lift anything during CrossFit, doing things like air squats, your whole body is involved. And another differentiator when it comes to CrossFit compared to other fitness programs is that you're using your full body and you are using full range of movements and motions. For example, when it comes to push-ups, your chest is going all the way to the ground and you're supporting yourself all the way up. Squats are the same thing. You stand up tall and you basically sit all the way down, not on the ground, but the lowest point you can reach with your body. These exercises are not trivial or easy. You're engaged with your whole body, your mind. It's something that you don't really stop thinking about the first few weeks. Maybe for me, that will be longer because I think it's going to take a little while to adapt and absorb everything. And that's very exciting. If you're like me in your 40s or maybe a little bit older in your 50s and 60s, even 70s, it's never too late to start. Every exercise can be modified. Every class is as easy or as hard as you want it to be. So there's a lot of flexibility I want to remind people of and have fun. I had so much fun recording this video. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know what else you would like to learn and look forward to hearing from you.